You may not realize it yet, but there are invisible chains wrapped around your life. Chains made not of metal, but of habits, tiny decisions, quiet routines, the things you do without thinking, the things you avoid without admitting. And today, on day 3, I'm here to tell you something you already know deep inside of those habits are costing you your destiny. Think about it. Every dream you ever abandoned, every opportunity you hesitated on, every moment you stayed stuck. It wasn't fate. It wasn't lack of talent. It wasn't bad luck. It was the quiet daily habits that kept you exactly where you are. You see, most people don't wake up one day and decide to fail. They don't choose regret. They don't consciously choose average. They simply repeat yesterday and the day before that and the day before that until years pass and nothing changes. But today is different as the interruption. Today is the moment when your life gets uncomfortable enough, loud enough, honest enough for you to finally see the patterns that have been holding you hostage. Because the truth is this, let me ask you something that might sting a little. If your life stayed exactly the same for the next 12 months, your mindset, your discipline, your routine, your excuses, would you be proud or would you be terrified? If that question makes your chest feel tight, it's because something inside you already knows your habits are running your life and not in the direction you want. You don't need more motivation. You don't need more time. You don't even need more opportunities. What you need is a brutal, honest break from the habits that make you small. Let me expose the habits people hide from, even from themselves. And the habit of delaying the work until you feel ready. And the habit of scrolling to escape your own potential. And the habit of repeating the same thoughts that limit you. And the habit of comfort that kills ambition, but the habit of living for approval instead of purpose, but the habit of choosing what is easy instead of what is necessary. These habits don't look dangerous, but they quietly destroy everything you could be. Every habit is a vote for your future or a vote for your past. And the scary part, most people spend their entire lives voting for the past. Something happens the moment you decide you're done being controlled by old patterns. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. Nobody else even notices. It's simply a whisper in your soul that says, this time I mean it. But because real change doesn't start with a new habit, it starts with a new identity. You have to shift from I hope I change, to I refuse to stay the same. When you take that stand, even silently, your brain begins to work with you instead of against you. You'll start noticing the things you've ignored. You'll become aware of the choices you've allowed to slide. And awareness is powerful because once you see a habit that holds you back, you can't unsee it. That awareness becomes your fire. Here's the truth. You don't break a habit by fighting it. You break a habit by replacing it. You don't overcome fear by resisting it. You overcome fear by moving in spite of it. You don't escape your old life by force. You escape it by creating a new one loud enough, powerful enough, meaningful enough that the old one loses its grip on you. Start small. Start embarrassingly small. Start with something that feels almost too simple. Wake up 10 minutes earlier. Drink water before the phone touches your hand. Read instead of scrolling. And take one uncomfortable action a day. Tell yourself one powerful truth every morning. Why? Because changing your habits isn't about the habit. It's about signaling to your brain, I am no longer the person who settles. And once your identity shifts, everything else follows. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are not stuck. You are simply conditioned. But conditioning can be rewired. Patterns can be replaced. Habits can be rebuilt. And futures can be rewritten. Today is proof that you're still fighting. You're still growing. You're still searching for a life that feels worthy of your potential. And I'll tell you something you may not hear enough. You are capable of more than your habits have ever allowed you to experience. You are Don't wait for a miracle. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the perfect moment. This is the moment, because today is day 3, and day 3 is the turning point. The day you stop blaming circumstances. The day you stop negotiating with excuses. The day you break free from the routines that shrink your life. One new habit, one new decision, one new direction. That's all it takes to rewrite your story. So say it silently or say it loudly, but say it with conviction. I am done being controlled by the habits that hold me back. And then prove it with your next choice. Your future is not waiting for permission. It's waiting for you. Your habits are either building you or burying you. There is no middle ground. Your habits shape your destiny in ways you rarely notice, yet they silently direct every part of your life. Most people think their future is determined by major decisions or dramatic turning points, but the truth is far simpler and far more uncomfortable. Your future is built on the things you repeatedly do, not the things you occasionally dream about. Every habit, no matter how small, acts like a vote cast toward the type of person you are becoming. And what's even more powerful is that these votes add up day after day, quietly, consistently, whether you're paying attention or not. Think about how much of your life is automatic. You wake up with the same thoughts you had yesterday, follow the same routines, make the same excuses, react in the same ways, and then wonder why nothing changes. Most people don't lack ambition. They lack awareness of the patterns that run their lives. They believe they are making choices, but more often they are following scripts written long ago. Scripts shaped by comfort, fear, doubt, and convenience. And because these habits feel familiar, they also feel safe. But what feels safe is often the very thing keeping you stuck. Your habits are like unseen architects designing the structure of your future. If you keep building with the same materials, procrastination, self-doubt, avoidance, distraction, you cannot expect the structure to suddenly transform into something strong, disciplined, or extraordinary. You cannot live an extraordinary life when your daily decisions are ordinary. And yet this is where most people remain trapped, wanting a new reality without changing the actions that create it. When you understand that each habit is a vote, everything shifts. That one morning where you choose discipline instead of delay, vote. That afternoon where you choose focus instead of distraction, vote. That difficult moment where you move forward instead of retreating, vote. You start to build a new identity, not through words, not through hope, but through consistent proof. Your brain rewires itself based on repetition, not potential. It follows the patterns you show it, not the dreams you whisper to yourself at night. People often underestimate how powerful small habits are because they seem insignificant in the moment. But small habits compound. A single day of doubt doesn't ruin your life, just like a single day of productivity doesn't transform it. But repeated over weeks, months, and years, these tiny decisions accumulate into completely different outcomes. You don't become confident in one moment. You become confident after proving to yourself again, that you follow through. You don't become disciplined overnight. You become disciplined through the daily act of choosing what is necessary over what is comfortable. You don't become successful by wishing. You become successful by aligning your habits with the future you want, not the past you lived. And this is where most people struggle. They cling to old habits because those habits feel like home. But familiarity is not freedom. In fact, it's often the cage. Breaking free requires honesty. You have to look at your life without sugarcoating. You have to ask yourself difficult questions. What habits are costing me my potential? What routines are keeping me average? What patterns do I repeat that no longer serve the person I want to be? And perhaps the most painful question, how long have I been allowing these habits to make decisions for me? Because habits don't just shape what you do. They shape what you believe about yourself. A person who constantly avoids challenges starts to believe they are incapable. A person who never finishes what they start begins to see themselves as someone who always quits. A person who relies on comfort begins to think discomfort is dangerous, when in reality, discomfort is the birthplace of growth. Your habits become your identity, and your identity becomes your destiny. That's why changing your habits is not just self-improvement, it's self-definition. But here's the empowering truth. Identity works both ways. Just as negative habits pull you into a smaller version of yourself, positive habits pull you into a stronger version. Every time you choose a habit aligned with your future, you cast a vote for the person you want to become. And the more votes you cast, the stronger that identity becomes. Eventually, it shifts from I'm trying to this is who I am. That shift is the turning point. That shift is where transformation becomes permanent. Imagine waking up and knowing that your habits work for you, not against you. Imagine your daily actions reinforcing the future you want instead of dragging you back to the past you're trying to escape. Imagine no longer negotiating with your excuses because you've built a lifestyle where discipline feels natural, focus feels normal, and growth feels non-negotiable. That version of you is not a fantasy. It is simply the result of different habits chosen intentionally instead of unconsciously. When you realize your habits are shaping your destiny, you stop waiting for motivation. You stop waiting for clarity. You stop waiting for the right time because you finally understand the right time is any moment you start casting new votes, any moment you choose action over avoidance, any moment you say, this is not who I am anymore. I'm building something different now. Your life changes the moment you take responsibility for the habits that build it, and it transforms the moment you begin building new ones with purpose, consistency, and conviction. You are not controlled by your past patterns unless you choose to be. The future is shaped by the habits you commit to today, and every small decision you make carries more power than you realize. The question is no longer whether you can change. Of course you can. The real question is, what future will your next habit create? Breaking free from the habits that hold you back is never about waiting for the perfect moment or the right burst of motivation. It happens when you replace the routines that weaken you with the routines that strengthen you, one small decision at a time. People often imagine transformation as some dramatic shift, a sudden wave of determination, a life-changing event, a moment where everything aligns. But true change doesn't come from intensity. It comes from consistency. It comes from the quiet, daily choices you make when nobody is watching and no applause is coming. Your life begins to shift the moment you understand that action, not desire, is what rewires your entire system from the inside out. Most people fail not because they are incapable, but because they expect change to feel comfortable. They want growth without discomfort, discipline without friction, progress without pressure. But the human mind is wired to stick with the familiar. It doesn't care whether your familiar habits are good or bad. It only cares that they are known. So when you attempt to step into something new, the old habits naturally try to pull you back. That pull isn't a sign that you can't change. It's simply a sign that you are stepping into territory your mind has not yet normalized. And the only way to normalize it is through repetitions, small, consistent actions that slowly convince your brain that this new path is the safer, more natural one. You don't need to break a habit by force. If you try to fight a bad habit directly, you usually end up giving it more power, more attention, and more emotional weight than it deserves. The secret is replacement. You create a stronger habit that naturally crowds out the weaker one. You replace procrastination with 5 minutes of starting. You replace negative self-talk with one grounded truth you repeat daily. You replace avoidance with one small action that moves you forward. These replacements matter because the mind hates a void. If you try to remove a habit without filling the space it occupied, your brain will pull you right back into the old pattern. But if you replace it with a habit that aligns with your future, you begin to shift your identity without forcing the process. Every small action becomes a powerful signal. When you choose to act instead of avoid, even for a moment, you send a message to your brain that you are capable of taking control. When you choose discipline over comfort, even in a tiny way, you begin building evidence that you can trust yourself. And the more evidence you gather, the easier the next choice becomes. Soon, you're no longer acting out of pressure or self-punishment. You're acting from a growing sense of identity. You are becoming someone who follows through, someone who keeps promises to themselves, someone who moves, someone when it's uncomfortable. And in this process, the size of the action matters far less than the consistency of the action. One tiny habit repeated daily can create more transformation than one massive action taken once. The mind transforms through cycles, not events. So when you tell yourself, just 5 minutes, you're not choosing smallness, you're choosing sustainability. You're giving yourself a realistic starting point that builds momentum rather than requiring motivation. Motivation is unreliable, but momentum is powerful. And momentum is built through small, repeatable behaviors that snowball over time. As you replace weak habits with stronger ones, something subtle but extraordinary begins to happen inside you. Your identity shifts. You stop seeing yourself as someone trying to change and start seeing yourself as someone who does change. You stop seeing yourself as someone controlled by old patterns and start seeing yourself as someone who creates new ones. This identity shift is what makes transformation last. Without identity, habits feel like effort. With identity, habits feel like alignment. And the beauty of this process is that you don't need perfection. You only need persistence. If you miss a day, you don't lose progress. You simply resume the next day. Habits aren't built through flawless performance. They are built through return. Every time you return, you strengthen the pathway. Every time you return, you prove to yourself that you are not giving up. And eventually returning becomes natural because the new habits become your default state. This is how self-discipline turns into self-identity. The truth is, you already know which habits weaken you. You already know which routines keep you stuck, which behaviors drain your energy, which patterns limit your potential. And deep down, you also know the habits that would elevate your life if you committed to them, even at the smallest scale. You're not confused. You're conditioned. But conditioning can be rewritten, and it begins with one decision: to act, not merely plan; to move, not merely wish; to choose what your future needs, not what your comfort demands. You break free not by force, but by building habits that make your old life impossible to return to. When you replace avoidance with action, you become someone who moves. When you replace fear with courage in small doses, you become someone who tries. When you replace distraction with focus, you become someone who finishes. And when you replace self-doubt with self-evidence, proof gathered daily, you become unstoppable. Change doesn't happen in the future. It happens in the next choice you make. And that choice, repeated daily, is what builds the life waiting for you. You've come this far because some part of you is tired of living on repeat. You're tired of the patterns that drain your energy, the habits that shrink your potential, the cycles that steal your confidence. You want more, and deep down, you know you were made for more, but wanting a new life will never be enough. You must choose it day after day, step after step, habit by habit. This is the moment when you stop being a witness to your life and start becoming the author of it. No more waiting for the perfect mindset, the perfect motivation, or the perfect moment. The perfect moment is the one you're standing in right now. The shift begins the second you decide you are done negotiating with your excuses. Change begins the second you choose one small action that pulls you forward. So here's your call to action: simple, direct, and impossible to avoid. Choose one habit today that aligns with the future you want, and do it. Not tomorrow, not when it's convenient. Today, right now, something doable, something that signals to your mind, I am stepping into who I'm meant to be. Because if you can win the next 5 minutes, you can win the next hour. If you can win the next hour, you can win the day. And if you can win enough days, you can rewrite your entire life. Your transformation doesn't start someday. It starts the moment you decide to act. This is that moment. Now go prove to yourself that the next chapter of your story will be written by the strongest version of you, not the habits that once held you back.